Chapter 2: Urban Guerrilla Sniping. Shooting and marksmanship are the urban guerrilla's water and air. His perfection of the art of shooting makes him a special type of urban guerrilla, that is, a sniper, a category of solitary combatant indispensable in isolated actions. The sniper knows how to shoot at close range and at long range, and his arms are appropriate for either type of shooting. Cargos Margella, author of Mini Manual of the Urban Guerrilla. Taking aim at conventional sniping. The previous chapter demonstrates that urban guerrilla sniping is a drastic departure from traditional concepts of sniping. In fact, traditional sniper methodology falls flat in the arena of urban guerrilla warfare for a variety of reasons we will discuss. In spite of the very real limitations of traditional sniping, conventional concepts still dominate the field. As a result, very little is known about the discipline of urban guerrilla sniping, despite thousands of soldiers, policemen, and civilians shot by snipers during the course of the world's recent guerrilla wars. If we are to understand the art of guerrilla sniping, we must first strip away the decades of misconceptions about what a sniper actually is. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines the act of sniping as to shoot at exposed individuals from a usually concealed point of vantage. This bare-bones description is good because it is broad enough to incorporate various styles and methods of sniping. In contrast, many have whittled down their definition of a sniper to such a narrow concept that the only traditional styles of sniping are recognized. For these sniper purists, their claustrophobic definition of a sniper is a young, fit male who is a school-trained professional, inevitably wears a camouflage ghillie suit, has a high-powered rifle and an equally high-powered scope, and fires from extreme distances. This concept is a reflection of a conventional, rural-centric mindset that works in a specific kind of high-intensity warfare environment. The urban guerrilla sniping realities are something different. The school-trained sniper myth. A person formally educated in their field usually has an advantage over someone with no organized learning in this same field, but this is not always true. In fact, some of the world's best snipers are self-taught. Case in point, Vasily Zaitsev of Stalingrad fame started his career as a Navy payroll clerk, becoming a self-taught sniper as he fought the German Sixth Army on the banks of the Volga River in the fall of 1942. Sepp Allerberger, the second most prolific German sniper of World War II, with hundreds of rigorously confirmed kills, learned to shoot on his own with a captured Russian rifle while convalescing at an aid station. Zaitsev and Allerberger were both excellent snipers because they understood the tactics of sniping, not because they were school-trained experts. In a similar vein, a guerrilla sniper's training methodology may be scoffed at by professional snipers, but just because their learning process is different does not make them any less deadly. The ghillie suit myth. The ghillie suit is a rural-centric camouflage method that constrains a sniper to a specific environment. It only works in the woods. A sniper in a ghillie suit stands out in an urban environment as opposed to blending into it. For example, urban sniper mass murderer Charles Whitman calmly walked to the observation deck of the Texas Tower in Austin, Texas, on August 1st, 1966, wearing a pair of coveralls. To the surrounding people, he looked like a janitor. Whitman certainly could not have driven on campus with his face painted green and wearing olive drab sewn to an old uniform. Sorry, that's olive drab netting. It's a typo. It's olive drab netting sewn to his old uniform. In the cities, camouflage may be a pair of jeans and a leather jacket. The high-powered rifle myth. A high-powered rifle is not required for effective sniping, especially in an urban environment where a long-barreled, bulky weapon is more of a liability than an asset. In Chechnya, guerrillas were successful at killing Russian soldiers with headshots fired from .22 caliber rifles. These .22 caliber rifles were light, quiet, maneuverable, easily concealed, and if a sniper hit a person in the head with a .22 caliber bullet, they were just as dead if they were hit with a .50 caliber rifle. Also, Israeli soldiers found the .22 particularly useful for putting down select targets during riots and demonstrations. Others, still from common criminals to guerrillas fighting the Third Reich, employed pistols as a sniping tool. The high-powered scope myth. A high-powered scope is not a requirement for effective sniping. Simo Häyhä, the most successful sniper of all time, was a Finnish soldier credited with killing 542 Russian soldiers over the course of only 3 months during the Russo-Finnish War in 1940. During this time, Simo killed 6 Russians a day until he was wounded by a bullet to the face. Simo did not use a scope on his Finnish M28 7.62mm bolt-action rifle. This rifle was essentially a copy of the Russians' own Mosin Nagant battle rifle, because he thought he created too great a silhouette when he raised his head to look through the scope. As a result, the world's most prolific sniper scored all of his kills over iron sights. The long-distance myth. As mentioned already, urban ranges are frequently much less than those found in a rural setting. In many situations, soldiers are so close to their enemy they cannot take long-distance shot even if they wanted to. In Grozny, Chechen fighters clung so tightly to their vastly superior Russian foe that subsequent gun battles were fought entirely by shooting through the walls and ceilings of adjacent rooms. Also, to date, some Iraqi insurgent snipers have made many of their shots at 200 meters or less, some as close as 50. The mate sniper myth. Because organized warfare, again, that's a typo, that should say the male sniper myth. Because organized warfare is a male-dominated endeavor, snipers are expected to be men. However, one's gender has nothing to do with the ability to be an effective sniper. In World War II, the Russians employed entire sniper companies composed of women, not only because they were desperate for recruits, but because they were good snipers. In the world of guerrilla warfare, the sex of the sniper can be critical. Since being male makes up part of an expected sniper's profile, deviations from this profile help a guerrilla to remain free from security force scrutiny. Women all over the world receive less scrutiny from security forces and the general public than do men. Simo Häyhä. Finnish national hero Simo Häyhä poses for the camera while holding an M28 rifle, a copy of the Russians' own Mosin Nagant battle rifle. Häyhä and other Finnish snipers used unconventional tactics to pick off the Russians' life-essential field kitchens and to shoot the ill-clothed Russian soldiers as they huddled around the brightly burning campfires. Consequently, the Russians lived in fear of the Finnish White Death. The Russians later said they captured just enough land in the war to bury their dead. Sorry, I took an aside. That was the image description, continuing on, enabling them to move more easily in government-controlled areas. To this end, the Bosnians in Sarajevo and the guerrillas in Chechnya both used female snipers to good effect. How is guerrilla sniping different from conventional sniping? Now that we have broadened our definition of what a sniper is, how does the art of guerrilla sniping differ from conventional sniping? While both conventional and guerrilla snipers have the same job, their lifestyles are much different. An anonymous life. Life for the conventional sniper is simpler. The conventional sniper does not have to conceal their profession since they live and work in the open. For instance, any person interested in learning about sniping can contact world-renowned sniping expert John Plaster and talk to him in person. It is no secret where he lives, where he works, or what his email address is. In contrast, the guerrilla sniper must live a life of secrecy, never allowing the public to know their true discipline. While one can look up John Plaster's contact information in the phone book, there are no listings for guerrilla snipers in the Grozny, Belfast, or Fallujah Yellow Pages. For the guerrilla sniper, exposure means death or imprisonment. Freedom of movement. Because they operate in the open, conventional military snipers have considerable freedom of movement. A Russian sniper can hop on the back of an armored vehicle and drive to any place they need to go in Chechnya. On the other hand, a guerrilla sniper has a limited ability to move because some areas are closed off to the public. The guerrilla sniper has to deal with checkpoints, random searches, nighttime raids, and trained guard dogs trying to sniff them out. Therefore, a large part of a guerrilla sniper's life is spent developing methods to bypass the security force's population control measures in order to remain anonymous and retain an acceptable level of movement. making the shot. Making a shot for a member of a military organization or police force is usually an overt act. This kind of overt sniper, because they have nothing to hide and are defending the established government, can take their shot in the open with few repercussions. Think of a Royal Ulster Constabulary RUC sniper on duty at a police station in Northern Ireland. This sniper can openly look for IRA guerrillas with a pair of binoculars, and if they see an armed IRA gunman, they take a shot. After firing their weapon, the RUC sniper has a cup of tea, writes up an incident report, and maybe gets an award several months later. In contrast, the guerrilla sniper cannot operate like this. Everything they do must be done in absolute secrecy. The guerrilla has to hide the fact that they're going to take a shot, they must hide the shot itself, and they must hide the fact they just took a shot. Not only must the guerrilla hide these details from their enemy, they must hide them from the public. The guerrilla may even have to hide these events from their guerrilla organization and even their own family in order to remain compartmentalized and thus secure. After the shot, the guerrilla does not have the luxury to pat themselves on the back or even stay around and make another shot. Instead, the guerrilla's primary goal is to immediately blend into the urban terrain like a human chameleon and disappear. Physical association between the sniper and their weapon. A professional sniper in the military or law enforcement takes great pride in their weapon. They train with it for hours on the rifle range, they baby it with regular cleaning, and they keep it in a protective case. The conventional sniper not only takes pride in their weapon and their shooting skills, they make specific measures to associate themselves with their weapon. This association takes many forms, like taking a picture of them holding their rifle, signing for their weapon by serial number on an official document, placing their name on their weapon, or placing a number on that weapon that is associated with their name, and keeping their weapon in an established arms room or in an elaborate gun case at their home. In contrast, the guerrilla sniper pursues the complete opposite approach. In fact, they take extreme measures to disassociate themselves from their weapon. This disassociation is an integral part of the guerrilla's anonymous lifestyle. The disassociation measures the guerrilla may take include wearing gloves so as not to leave incriminating fingerprints on the weapon, filing the serial number off their weapon, using a different weapon for each sniper attack, hiding the weapon in a public place, securing the weapon only moments before the attack and then discarding it just as quickly, and cleaning gunshot residue off the weapon and the guerrilla's own person and clothes after making a shot. Overall, the guerrilla sniper has a difficult task because they are burdened with conducting every aspect of their operation in complete secrecy. A guerrilla sniper who is an excellent shot at long distances but is unable to effectively pass through government checkpoints is useless. The guerrilla sniper must possess a variety of skills that go far beyond making a bullet hit its intended target, but that are much a part of a job as squeezing the trigger. These skills include creating believable cover stories to deceive local authorities, blending in with the local population, conducting clandestine reconnaissance and surveillance of future targets while remaining undetected, moving to and from the guerrilla sniper shooting platform while under direct observation by the enemy and the public, yet arousing no suspicion, understanding the security force's forensic methodology, and being educated in the loopholes of the government's legal system. Understanding the urban environment. We know a guerrilla must operate differently than their government foe, but how exactly does the urban environment affect the sniper? To start, there are 4 distinct features of the urban environment one must appreciate. A large volume and variety of 1. People, 2. Vehicles, 3. Buildings, and 4. Avenues of travel, roads, sidewalks, stairs, crosswalks, and alleys. Unlike the relatively simple qualities of the rural world, the city is a complex place. People. A large number of people living in confined spaces mean the sniper has to conduct their operation under the scrutiny, of a diverse population that may or may not support the guerrilla's actions. As a result, in order to counter the scrutiny of so many people, the guerrilla sniper develops methods to conceal their weapon, to conceal their intentions, and to conceal the actual taking of their shot. Concealing all of these elements of their operation is difficult and requires a detailed methodology and strict discipline. On the other hand, the masses can also be exploited by the guerrilla sniper. This is because the sniper can move as one anonymous individual among many, where the sheer volume of people makes it impossible for the human eye and brain to observe, pick out, and remember specific individuals. Vehicles. Just with the mobs of people, the numbers and variety of vehicles in a city can be an asset for the sniper because they hide in the sea of cars just as they disappear in an ocean of people. For example, a guerrilla sniper can be in a vehicle surrounded by people, but at the same time be completely isolated from them. In this situation, the vehicle is its own microenvironment, providing complete concealment from the rest of the urban surroundings. Let us think of a sniper positioned in the back of a van, completely invisible to people standing even 1 foot from them. This relative isolation, provided by the completely enclosed space inside vehicle, allows the urban sniper to get close to enemy checkpoints, guard towers, and government facilities and still remain undetected. A sniper has several options when using a vehicle. They can shoot from a parked vehicle, shoot from a temporarily halted vehicle, or even fire from a slowly moving vehicle. As soon as the sniper takes their shot, the driver takes off and is miles away from the scene of the shooting in just minutes. Buildings. The thousands of structures found in any large city offer the guerrilla sniper an endless choice of sniper platforms to shoot from. Buildings, which are their own completely enclosed microenvironments, just like vehicles, allow the guerrilla sniper to observe their target and make a shot completely isolated from the surrounding populace. The sniper can further manipulate the vast number of windows and doors in a specific area to confound enemy security forces. If the sniper fires from a complex urban area, security forces will have to search 1,000 different windows, doors, and rooms in order to determine where the shot could have been made from. A difficult task indeed. Avenues of travel. The endless number of roads, exit and entrance ramps, bridges, crosswalks, stairs, crossroads, and intersections in a large city can be exploited by the guerrilla sniper in many ways. First, a sniper has many ways to approach a particular target. If a certain road is blocked off, the sniper can come in from another direction using any number of alternate roads. If cars are not allowed near the target, the sniper can approach their target on foot using sidewalks, back alleys, stairs, and other pedestrian means of travel. The guerrilla sniper also has the opportunity to use the various avenues of movement in a city as obstacles to resist their enemy and help their own getaway. For instance, a guerrilla sniper like Charles McCoy, the infamous Ohio highway sniper, who we will later discuss a little more in depth, may shoot a target sitting in a car who is stuck in traffic so they cannot drive away or even pursue the sniper after the attack. Or the sniper might engage a target walking on a bridge who is trapped by the concrete terrain and cannot physically escape from the kill zone. Importantly, the city presents the guerrilla sniper with an endless array of options for escape. The sniper can incorporate various means of travel to confound pursuing forces, like moving through alleys and shopping malls, taking taxicabs, and switching out vehicles under bridges and in parking garages. An experienced urban sniper exploits not just avenues of travel, but all the different elements of the complex urban terrain, people, cars, and buildings, to overwhelm enemy security forces, make a shot, and secure an effective getaway. How else does this complex urban environment affect the sniper? For one, the urban world is one of obstacles, and a shooter will most likely have to fire through a variety of urban mediums such as car doors and windshields, windows and doors of structures, and body armor and helmets. Since these mediums are everywhere in a city, the sniper may need a weapon that can penetrate them. Because space is compressed in the cities, urban snipers may have to shoot from confined areas, such as from inside a vehicle, like the DC snipers who made their shots from the trunk of a Caprice Classic 4-door sedan. Consequently, the sniper may need a small, maneuverable weapon to take advantage of all the unusual firing positions found in the city. Additionally, the sniper's target in a city may be very small, like the head of a person, driving an armored vehicle, looking through a window, or peering through a jagged hole blown out of a wall. Targets wearing ceramic body armor and protective helmets make for a much smaller target because the sniper has to aim for other body parts like the face, the neck, the pelvis, the lower back, and the armpits. The urban sniper's target could be very fleeting due to the avalanche of uncontrollable random elements and obstacles found in a city. A target could walk quickly past a window, stroll hurriedly through a doorway, stop briefly to buy a newspaper, run down a street, or a car could drive in between the sniper and the target, blocking their shot. As a result, the urban sniper must be able to rapidly acquire and engage their fleeting targets. We must understand the urban sniper cannot hide in the woods or a clump of bushes to conceal themselves from the enemy and prepare for their first shot. In the urban world, much different shooting platforms are required to be successful. In Northern Ireland, IRA snipers routinely conducted home invasions, taking over people's residences and holding the owners temporarily hostage while they used the house as a sniper platform. In Bosnia, competing snipers cut holes in the walls of abandoned high-rises, firing from these man-made rifle ports to pick off opposing populations. Blending in with the populace, blending in with the enemy. Perhaps the most important aspect that makes the guerrilla sniper such a frustrating foe is they intentionally blend in with the population. They do this by appearing as a normal citizen, wearing civilian clothes, concealing their weapon, and then taking a shot at an unsuspecting soldier or policeman. By definition, when the guerrilla sniper does this, they're committing a war crime, because to be considered a lawful combatant, a guerrilla must wear a uniform visible at a distance, they must carry their weapons openly, they must have established leaders, and they must obey the laws of land warfare. But conforming to the above laws makes the guerrilla just like their conventional enemies, that is, an easily identified target. Since the urban guerrilla cannot successfully fight their enemy using these rules, they choose to break them. However, a guerrilla sniper can work around the laws of land warfare in order to remain a legal combatant and still be successful. Let us look at a hypothetical situation in Chechnya. An armed Chechen sniper in civilian clothes walks to a van and then gets inside. Could the sniper then take a colored cloth band out of their pocket, put it on their arm, pick up an SVD sniper rifle stashed inside the vehicle, shoot a Russian soldier, then stash their rifle and armband and get out of the van and walk away like nothing happened? Yes, they could, legally. It is legal because during the actual act of shooting, they were wearing a recognized uniform, which, by law, can be nothing more than an armband, and at the time they were handling their weapon in the open. It is not the sniper's fault that the enemy cannot see their armband or SVD while positioned inside the van. Sure, many countries like Russia would argue that such actions are illegal. However, ask them to show you where it is written in the Geneva and Hague Conventions that the guerrilla sniper in this situation is violating the laws of war. While the guerrilla sniper benefits from blending into the civilian population, they also benefit by mimicking their enemy by wearing captured or stolen uniforms. For example, a resistance movement who fought against Nazi Germany during World War II mimicked their enemy by dressing as German soldiers. The French, Polish, Russian, and Yugoslav resistance movements all dressed as German soldiers to set up fake checkpoints, to move safely through enemy-controlled areas, to execute ambushes, and to conduct surprise attacks. In later wars, Palestinian guerrillas mimicked their Israeli foes. Chechen guerrillas wore Russian uniforms, and Iraqi insurgents donned both government police and army uniforms. So is a guerrilla sniper who wears their enemy's clothing a war criminal? Not necessarily. According to the laws of land warfare, it is perfectly legal to impersonate the enemy as long as one does not fight while in the enemy's uniform. With this as a legal baseline, think of a Polish sniper fighting in Warsaw in 1944. Walking openly down the street wearing a German uniform and carrying a Mauser K98 sniper rifle. Could this same guerrilla then walk into an abandoned building, go up the stairs to the top floor, put a colored armband on their upper right arm, and now be dressed in the proper uniform of the guerrilla army? Yes. Then, could the sniper take aim at a German soldier, blow their head off, put the colored armband in their pocket, and walk back down the same street they came down? Yes, legally, they could do all of the above. Traditional sniping and the law. While guerrilla snipers face a torrent of legal scrutiny from their conventional foes, let us examine traditional forms of sniping and see if they are themselves in compliance with international law. From at least the time of World War I, snipers in the world's major armies, British, French, American, German, Italian, Turkish, Russian, took extensive measures to disguise themselves, a process we know as camouflaging. However, by donning various camouflage outfits composed of anything from netting and cloth strips to real vegetation and hiding in fake trees, snipers no longer wore a recognized uniform, and they certainly could not be identified from a distance. In fact, the whole purpose of camouflaging was to be invisible to the enemy. Were these snipers violating the laws of land warfare? Defenders of camouflaging say it is not illegal to hide oneself as long as a sniper does not intentionally dress like a civilian. Others argue that as long as the sniper wears some sort of uniform under all their camouflage, they are abiding by international law. Another defense is that their camouflage outfit is their uniform. In many cases, the world's leading nations even copied the guerrilla sniper methods when it fits their needs. Just think of all the undercover police and military special operations unit worldwide who wear civilians' clothes, conceal their weapons, but still conduct offensive operations against their enemy. How are the British going to say IRA snipers violated the law of land warfare when the Royal Ulster Constabulary, the Special Air Service, and the 14th Military Intelligence Detachment all worked under cover in civilian clothes, concealed their weapons, and shot IRA guerrillas when they saw the opportunity? Ultimately, international law, like morality, is flexible and varies from which perspective you look at it. During the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising in 1943, Jewish snipers wore both civilian clothes and stolen German uniforms while shooting and killing German soldiers. In the course of the battle, the Jews broke every law under the sun. From the German perspective, the Jewish guerrillas broke the law by simply resisting. This was based on the German racial policy, formalized in 1935 under the Nuremberg Laws, which made persecution of Jews public policy. In early 1942, after the Wannsee Conference in Berlin, this discrimination against the Jews was transformed from mere racial segregation into a process of systematic genocide which became the Holocaust. The mass murder of the Jews was legal since the final arbiter of German law, the Führer, ordered such gifted men as Reinhard Heydrich and organizational genius Adolf Eichmann to make it so. What were the ghetto Jews supposed to do? Walk calmly to the gas chambers, poorly disguised as showers, and deeply inhale the Zyklon B? Should they have jumped right into the heated ovens and willingly burned themselves to death like the Germans wanted? Should the Jews have worn a common uniform, visible from a distance, and carried their weapons in the open so they could fight the Germans legally and fairly? I say no, as does the majority of the world. In this case, one should break the law as early and as often as possible when confronted with a genocidal regime. To date, we can safely say not a single Jewish sniper or guerrilla has been brought to trial for breaking the Geneva Convention while fighting the Nazis. Clearly, the Holocaust showed that urban guerrilla sniping as a methodology is neither illegal nor immoral. How this methodology is employed and to what ends it is used defines the righteousness of the act. Jewish guerrilla snipers who desperately picked off their Nazi butchers from the sewers, attics, and alleys of the burning Warsaw Ghetto could not have served a more noble cause. But where do we draw the line? What about the Russian invasion of Afghanistan in 1979? Was that illegal military intervention? The Russian government said it was. Then the Soviet military proceeded to carpet bomb much of the rural Afghan population and dropped untold numbers of mines, some disguised as toys, in order to effect a policy the Afghanistan resistance described as limited genocide. In this situation, what do you think of a Mujahideen sniper in the capital of Kabul putting a single full metal jacket round into the skull of an off-duty Russian officer? Should this sniper be charged with a war crime because they were dressed like a sheep herder at the time of the shooting? The United States, the Afghan resistance, and Pakistan, all with strategic interest in the country, would say this was a legal shooting because the Russians themselves had long ago discarded any pretense of fighting a legal war. We can also look at the British occupation of Northern Ireland, the Israeli takeover of the West Bank and Gaza Strip in 1967, and the American invasion of Iraq in 2003. In these situations, the occupiers all claim to be conducting lawful military operations in support of national security interests. In turn, each resistance movement, all have used guerrilla snipers that broke the laws of land warfare, argue that their oppressors broke international law first by invading and occupying them. On top of it, each resistance movement could point to numerous documented examples of their enemy violating the laws of land warfare by torturing captured guerrillas and repeatedly killing innocent civilians with their clumsy counterinsurgency measures. So, who is right? The reader will have to make their own decision, as the best answer I can come up with is, it depends. Why urban guerrilla sniping? If urban sniping is such a difficult endeavor, requiring creative thought, rigid discipline, and receiving extreme legal scrutiny, why do guerrilla movements employ them? What is the advantage? In January 2000, a Chechen sniper shot a Russian major general as he inspected his front lines in Grozny. In March 2006, Iraqi insurgents shot and killed the Iraqi military's most competent general as he drove in downtown Baghdad. This ability to remove specific, influential personalities underlies one of the sniper's best characteristics, the ability to discriminate. Because military actions in a guerrilla war are unavoidably linked to public perception and government legitimacy, the ability to limit structural damage and civilian casualties is crucial. When the guerrillas employ a lone sniper, they can be assured the sniper will destroy a specific target without harming bystanders. The guerrilla sniper's ability to avoid collateral damage can be used to exploit the government's own ability to do the same. If government security forces are unable to detect and selectively eliminate the guerrilla sniper, these security forces often resort to massive indiscriminate firepower to silence the shooter. As a result, if a guerrilla sniper fires from amongst the population, they can often bait security forces into butchering the population with a massive response. This overreaction, in turn, provides ammunition for the guerrillas' information war and undermines the legitimacy of the government. Overreaction and clumsy massacres are one kind of reaction from enemy security forces, but so is organizational paralysis. A skilled guerrilla sniper relentlessly working a specific geographic area, picking off targets regardless of government security measures, is a powerful tool. In this manner, the unseen sniper, selectively killing their prey and getting away with it every time, creates bone-gnawing fear and can freeze the targeted unit. Guerrilla snipers are also a viable means for attrition warfare, steadily picking off security forces one by one, raising the body count to an intolerable political level. Chechen guerrillas fully embrace this form of attrition warfare through their widespread use of snipers, which was one of the number one killers of Russian soldiers in that war. In turn, Iraqi insurgents understood the political importance of attrition warfare, using their own snipers to raise the American body count. Both Chechen and Iraqi guerrillas calculated that a steady stream of casualties would eventually become politically unpalatable to the Russian and American publics. At the tactical level, snipers perform a variety of functions, and for a guerrilla force, pinning down the enemy's superior forces is a vital task. The Chechens expertly used snipers to slow down vastly superior enemy forces, causing Russian forces to bog down in the streets of Grozny as the dead piled up. Serbian snipers, taking careful aim at surrounded Sarajevo, paralyzed entire sections of the city, forcing thousands of people to hide inside their homes and stay off the streets. A single sniper team in Fallujah, Iraq, rumored to be Chechen, was able to pin down an entire American infantry company all day during the November 2004 assault of the city. As these examples show, a single sniper enables the guerrillas to economize their force and expend only one man for disproportionate results. Another use for the lone sniper is creating terror. German snipers on the Eastern Front, confronted with massive human wave attacks by the surging Russians, learned to inflict horrible wounds on the advancing Soviet soldiers by blasting gaping holes in their intestines with explosive bullets. These strategically placed shots reduced the Russians to screaming masses of bleeding flesh incapable of continuing the fight. This calculated use of battlefield terror enabled the Germans to repeatedly beat back human wave attacks, buying themselves much-needed time. While tactical terror on the battlefield is within the reach of the individual sniper, so is the application of widespread terror against the civilian populace. The ugly civil war in Bosnia during the 1990s introduced the widespread use of urban snipers to install terror in competing populations. Every day, Serbian snipers butchered their opposites, preying on old men, women, and young children. In this war, snipers were used as an ethnic cleansing tool rather than a discriminating battlefield weapon. And long before Bosnia, American mass murderer Charles Whitman, fired from the lofty heights of the Texas Tower in 1966, showed the world that the lone sniper in a densely populated area was just as deadly as a homicide bomber. For all these reasons, resistance movements employ the urban guerrilla sniper. While the guerrilla understands their own tactics, conventional security forces have either been slow to figure out their enemy's slippery methodology or simply never do. To connect the dots of the urban sniper, one must first realize it is the guerrillas' unconventional tactics that make them effective, not their exceptional shooting ability. To focus on guerrillas' technical shooting skill, as traditional snipers do, is to miss entirely the power of the urban guerrilla sniper.